Hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, and welcome back to another episode, the last one for 2018 of Black Tomatoes here at Black Hollywood Live. We're talking about some Golden Globe predictions. We're talking about all the movies that you haven't seen, but we have, that you might want to check out before the end of 2018 coming up next, and a special guest. So tune in, stay tuned. It's a little Jingle Bell Rock, and it is the holiday time here at Black Hollywood Live in beautiful North Hollywood, California. We're so excited that we have in the studio with us Miss KJ Matthews.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, as our guest host, Scott Menzel.
Hello, everyone. Happy holidays.
Yes, and I am your host, Carla Renata, and this is our final Black Tomato show for 2018. Yes, all of that. I'm exasperated just thinking about what we have to talk about, so let me just run down the list and tell you real quick what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about our predictions for the Golden Globes, because those will be happening when we come back next year. We're going to talk about Mary Poppins, Second Act, If Beale Street Could Talk, Vice, Roma, Cold War, Destroyer, Robin Hood, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And that's it. With a little film news and stuff mixed in between that. So let me tell you about my girl, KJ Matthews. So KJ and I met through another film critic organization I belong to called the African American Film Critics Association. Absolutely. Her and I had the pleasure of doing some nights and hosting Turner Classic Movies over the summer.
We absolutely did, yes.
Over the fall. That was in September.
Yeah. It feels like it was just yesterday, though, right?
Right? So we did that, and it was beautiful. But KJ is a Peabody Emmy Award-winning entertainment journalist. She's been at CNN. She's been at the BBC, Reels Channel, Extra, ABC, CBS, Fox. Honey, the list goes on and on and on. I told KJ, I'm like, I cannot even believe the list.
Now you're making me feel old. I feel like I'm like 1,000 years old. I'm not that old, really.
No. You're not 1,000 years old, but what you are is very seasoned and very good at your job.
Thank you so much. I'm just happy to be with you guys to talk about our favorite thing, which are movies.
Yes,
I love
movies.
It.
All right. So, Scott, how was your week?
Good. Very low key this week. Saw a couple movies, but not any junkets, so it was nice. It was nice and quiet.
Yeah,
I like it.
I had junkets. It wasn't quiet for me, but we'll talk about that later.
All right.
So, my favorite movie of this year is If Beale Street Could Talk. It's my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie, and let me tell y'all why. It deals with black love from the perspective of different vantage points, from a relationship vantage point between a man and a woman, from a mother and father's love for their daughter, a mother's love for her son, a family's love for a newborn baby. It's just black love that we don't see on the screen in that way. Hollywood doesn't show black people like that on screen ever. Like there's glimpses of it, but not to the extent that is shown in this film. And Barry Jenkins literally took James Baldwin's novel by the same name, If Beale Street Could Talk, and threw it up on the silver screen. And I'm telling you what, it did something to me. What did it do to y'all? Because yeah.
You know, the thing is, Barry Jenkins can do no wrong. He really is one of the best filmmakers out there. He really is. And you know, we have to give him credit. It is hard to take on a James Baldwin novel. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's controversial and everything else.
It's very controversial. Yeah. You don't want to get it wrong because it's such a well-written novel that everyone's like, maybe you want to try something else. You might want to do it. But he nailed it. The acting is great. I like the fact that he put actors and actresses that a lot of people are not familiar with.
Right.
It didn't take away. I could see them in that role. So often, you can't lose the face. You're like, oh, that's such and such. You never really follow them. But with this one, I followed it. I believed it right from the get-go. And you're right. It is a love story. I really love Regina King's character. I love the fact that she was talking about it the other day where she was saying she is a mother who acts out of love, not out of fear. And that's something you don't really see with a lot of African American moms, particularly during that time.
Yes, particularly during what happens in this situation, which we don't want to say because we don't want to spoil for everybody, but that hasn't seen it because it's coming out on Christmas Day.
Correct.
It's in limited release right now. But Scott, what are your thoughts about it?
I think Barry Jenkins is such an incredible voice. He's someone who I'm very happy to support, and he's now gone 2 for 2, like back to back. And I think this movie, like you said, it's a very slow paced film, but there's been a lot of movies this year where they've addressed issues of race, but none that have done so beautifully as this movie does. It's very poetic. It's very quiet, but it just works. And I really love what Jenkins was able to do with this.
Yeah. You know what else I loved about it? I loved that during the course of time, Stephan James's character, you saw what how his experience that he was going through in the film was weighing on him physically.
Yes.
Like you physically saw that transformation, and that was freaking
hard to do. It's very hard to do, and he does it with a lot of his facial gestures. You know what I mean? Not so much what he's saying, but what his face is transforming and as emitting out to the audience.
And his weight too, because you can tell when he's thin and when he's not. It was awesome.
It ages him. Yeah, no,
absolutely.
it was done really well. I mean, Barry really knows how to capture struggle beautifully, and that's hard to do. It is very hard to capture struggle on the big screen in a beautiful way.
And I think that's the perfect note to segue right into the next one. Like, what do you say after that? Yeah. What do you say after that? All right, so the next one I want to talk about is this movie Vice.
Right.
It's an Adam McKay film that stars Christian Bale, Amy Adams, and Sam Rockwell. As I began to say last week, this is not one of my favorite movies for a variety of reasons. I feel like Adam is very, I said this last week, is very reminiscent of The Big Short for me. And I felt like The Big Short was a better film between the two.
Correct.
I love Christian Bale. I love Amy Adams. I honestly am not understanding why everybody's goo gaga for them in this particular film. I don't understand, but that's just me.
You know, the funny thing is, I'm so happy you're saying that, because guess what? I didn't really like this film.
Okay,
here's the thing. I don't know how old all of us are, but when they were in office, Dick Cheney, I obviously followed, the administration, and so I remember a lot of these things happening. One, I had a number of problems with this film, but one of them is I love Amy Adams. I love her as an actress. She's one of the best actors. But guess what? I never bought her being Lynn Cheney. Not for one. There was never a time where I looked at the movie and I lost who Amy Adams was and said, "Oh, that's Lynn Cheney."
Absolutely.
I didn't sense it. I'll tell you another thing too. Rarely do I ever agree with a lot of conservative digital sites or newspapers about Hollywood, but I found myself agreeing with them. A lot of them were saying it was so far-fetched. They didn't go in a way to even try to portray some of the truth to it. It just seemed almost laughable at times, and I didn't think it was really fair in some instances. I mean, I know some of the situations they were portraying did happen, but a little bit over the top. Even the way they brought in music all the time without letting me just sink in and sink back and say, okay, let me take in the scene. And I thought that even detracted. So I'm not sure why a lot of people are goo goo gaga over it, other than I do like Christian Bale. I love the way he aged. He does look a lot like
Dick
Cheney. So he nailed it, but guess what? Christian Bale
nails everything. It's not like he's not good.
He's a method actor. He's a lot like Al Pacino. He's a lot like Robert De Niro.
Exactly.
They don't ever portray a character unless they fall into that character. They become that character. So I'm not surprised by that.
Remember him a few years ago with The Machinist? Do y'all remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
God. What did he lose, like 100 pounds?
Yeah, it was crazy. He was like near death.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. But,
so he's a great actor, and he did a great job with the material that he had. I'm just not sure it was worthy of all the nominations that it has received. I love Adam. I know this is his project. I love other things he's done. I love Christian Bale. I love Amy Adams. And heck, to be honest with you, I love all the actors. I'm just not sure I love them together, and I'm not sure that I loved this script.
I agree with you, Scott.
Interesting. I guess I'm the odd man out. I actually really enjoyed this film. I thought it was very jarring. It was very bold. I have gone on record multiple times and said this. I mean, Hollywood does love to pat themselves on the back when it comes to politics. Yeah. And I definitely do agree with you that this film feels like that pat on the back. Right. Like, yeah, we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing it. We're showing them. But for some reason, I kind of went along for it. I felt like it took risks. I thought it was edgy. I thought the way that it was edited together was very it was purposely jarring, and for me it worked. Wow. I will agree with Carla as well that I do think that The Big Short is a better film.
Oh yeah,
by far, and a much more important topic as well. I know because of who's in office right now, we will want to talk a little bit about this subject matter of what led to this.
Yes.
You know what? And I think that's why people are gravitating toward it.
Yeah.
Really, honestly,
it is.
I think that's why people are gravitating toward it. I also think that you were talking about Hollywood and political films, just to piggyback on what you were saying.
Yeah.
I feel like if people were going to get behind a political film, the one they should have got behind was The Front Runner with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that much better than this.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Well, too, you mentioned the political thing, and I wonder if Hillary Clinton were our president today, would this film be in the lead?
Probably not.
It's just a question. I'm not injecting my opinion.
I mean,
I'm just wondering.
He would have got the Best Actor nomination, but I don't think anyone else. And I will also say that I love Amy Adams just like everyone else at this table. But I will agree that this is not the strongest I've seen her.
Right.
Not by far.
She's done much better, and she's a phenomenal actress.
Yeah, I mean, even in Enchanted or Arrival, which she was completely robbed for.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's really good.
She's really good, but this one is. But Beale, I mean, he just pours his heart and soul into it.
He really does.
He really disappears.
He's just a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
So we all agree that Christian Bale is the bomb.
Right.
Moving on.
This is the truth.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
So I put these two together purposefully because they're the two only black and white films in the discussion this year.
That.
Roma versus Cold War. So between the two, I like Cold War. That's my favorite one.
Me too, Carla.
Okay?
Me too, Carla.
I love me some Cold War. Now, Roma is Alfonso Cuarón's film, and Cold War is Paweł Pawlikowski, right?
Right.
I can't believe I got that name.
You did it. I would have butchered it.
Both sort of autobiographical, though.
Yes. They're both autobiographical. Paweł Pawlikowski's Cold War film is based on the relationship of his parents, he told me. Mm-hmm. And Roma. Now, this is the thing about Roma. So I went to a screening of Roma where Alfonso was there, and
lucky you.
And Yalitza was there, and all of the panel was there, and they had a translator for Yalitza. This is the thing. He straight up said, there was no script for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it.
He straight up said there was no script for this. And the actors were like, he would just come on set every day and be like, okay, this is the premise, go.
Wow.
There was no script for Roma.
Because he felt he can get the best reaction out of them. I mean, he knows what he's doing, obviously.
But, honey, what I will tell you is that scene where she's having that baby.
Oh, gosh.
I cannot. That little young lady, Yalitza, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and I'm not going to butcher it, but I can pronounce her first name, so I'll just say her first name. Yalitza wears it out, and she is not a trained actress.
No, she isn't. I saw an interview with her where they had a translator as well, and he was talking, Alfonso was saying how they had to go send people out to small villages to audition to try to find someone to play this role. So she said she didn't even know that she got it because there was a language barrier, and she was waiting, and then she was like, oh, me? And so she's never acted before. I mean, we've seen this, though, with a lot of kind of Oscar-worthy films where somebody will come out of the woodwork and you're like, who is that kid? Mm-hmm. Where did they come from? You found them where? At a basketball court? Or like, it'll be some strange thing where the person has never acted before and they will blow Hollywood away. Yeah. And then sometimes you see them again and sometimes you don't. It's like a one-hit wonder. We don't know the case with Yalitza, but it's a beautiful film. I look at Roma and Cold War like this. You give birth to two children, and then somebody walks up to you and says, well, which one do you love more? I can't really...
You can't pick between...
No, I like them both. They're different stylistically, and the way the camera angles work. I just fell in love with both of them.
But why do you think, and this is for both of y'all, do y'all think that Roma is getting more, because in the European awards, Cold War won everything.
Right.
Roma didn't get.
You want to know why Roma's getting all this love? My God, I have never seen a studio push a movie so hard.
It's on every billboard.
I mean, it's on every billboard. I logged into Netflix yesterday. It's on there. I mean, I get an email every day for like the past 30 days about it.
It's funny
I am
to
so
me too.
tired of hearing about
He's
this
so
movie.
right about that, because I was on the 405 in LA and I saw it.
Yeah.
I take the 405 to Orange County, and guess what? It's in Orange County. I'm like, so wait a minute. What you're saying is I got to leave California to stop seeing Roma billboards?
I know.
But guess what? There's a lot of Latino community in Orange County.
Yes, there is.
There are a lot of Latinos.
Because I saw the billboards there as I left Los Angeles County. So I said, wow. I mean, there's billboards like all over the place. I mean, they're really pushing this. It's well shot. It's Alfonso Cuarón. I mean, I love the story. I love the way he shot it. I love the fact that the actors don't take away. Again, not super famous actors. They're not getting in the way. They're not getting
because it was like you said earlier. Sometimes when they are super famous actors and actresses, it distracts from the story that they're trying to tell.
Right, and he knows that. That's why he went to these small villages to audition people to play this role. Look, he's a Hollywood director. If he wanted someone famous,
he could have got him.
Right, he got anyone he wants.
He didn't do that. He went to the small villages and auditioned person after person after person until he found the right one for a reason, because he did not want that person to get in the way of the story that he was trying to tell.
Absolutely, Scott.
I agree with your statement about both of them being their babies and being very personal. Yeah. The thing is, for me, what's going to make Cold War pop for more people is that there is a love story there. It's a little bit more relatable. It's shorter. And I think a lot of those...
Roma is long.
Roma, and this is my problem with Roma. Roma, the second half of this movie is what I would call as close to a masterpiece as you can get.
It is.
The first hour of the movie, though, is long, tedious, and repetitive.
It's slow.
It's really slow.
Because there's no script.
There's no script, which is why we're not going to talk about this later. Why is it nominated for best screenplay somewhere?
I saw that.
I don't want to. We'll talk about it later. But I agree. I mean, the beach scene is one of my favorite scenes of the year.
Even the earthquake scene and the way the camera doesn't move, but other things move around it. All of those little nuances make it a beautiful art house film.
And the scene in the baby store.
Oh God,
that whole thing. Look, I'm not saying the film is busted. I'm just saying that between the two films, if I had to choose between the two films, I would pick Cold War.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I gotta show some love for Roma here. Somebody has to be on the Roma side.
I'm not saying I'm not on the Roma side.
I would like to bring up an interesting topic. Okay, so you're an expert. You've been working in this for a very long time. So what I want to ask you is, as a studio that is putting all their marketing dollars behind Roma, and they have all these other movies that have come out and that are getting zero push and zero love, that to me is almost offensive, because as filmmakers, everyone wants their movies to be shown and find an audience. And you have a Coen Brothers movie that came out a couple weeks ago that was getting a little bit of a push,
not as much,
but not as enough. Private Life, great film. No push. But I mean, there's just so many of these movies that I agree.
But you know what? What you're bringing up is an old thing in Hollywood. Lots of people talk about this all the time. Why does this film get this budget? Why is there no promotion for this? Why is this embargoed? Why are we waiting? Why did the studio not even put any marketing behind it? The list can go on and on. I could think of one film, I shall remain nameless right now. They got like zero budget, and the actress was on TV saying, well, didn't really want to get into it. So let's face it, a lot of it is political.
Yes.
A lot of it is stuff that's going on behind the scenes that we may not know about.
Be privy to, yes.
We're privy to, so just keep that in mind. You know, when we see certain things but we don't see other, there's always something going on that we, the public, may not be privy to.
No. Some of that stuff I don't want to be privy to. How about that?
I just look at I can't help but notice this, because even when a studio knows that they have a clunker,
right?
You know, there is a little bit of
just a little push.
There's a little push. You see some marketing going into things. I mean, I love Private Life. I saw it at Sundance. I just felt like it came and went, like no push whatsoever.
And then there's certain things I know, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me on, where there's certain things you'll see a push and you're like, But why?
Yes, yeah.
Why is this movie being pushed that it's average? It's not a place where you should spend most of your money.
Yes.
You know, it's weird. We could all go on about that. Yeah, we kind of disagreed on that. Yeah, for sure.
So that's all we gotta say about that one.
Right.
Destroyer. Now let me just tell you about Destroyer. Ooh, I know we got lots to say about this, and that's why I just put it on the list, because I'm like, I could have put this one or something else, but I decided to use this. So
Let's just say a precursor. We like Nicole Kidman.
Yes, I do. I love Nicole Kidman.
Can we just say, just for the record, we love
Nicole Kidman
as an actress.
Yes, we do.
She's one, just like
Wasn't she great
Amy
at Boy
Adams.
Erased? She was great at
Look,
Boy Erased.
let's just say that.
Okay, and let's also just say Nicole Kidman has had a stellar year in film.
Oh my God.
She's in Aquaman. She's in this.
She's great in Aquaman,
She's
too.
in Boy Erased. What
Right.
else is she? There's something else
This is
she's
the third
in.
one she's in too. It escapes me right now, but this is her year.
Yeah, and she's doing Big Little Lies. So there's all that. I love Nicole Kidman. I've seen every movie Nicole Kidman has ever done, and I did not even realize that was the case until I was at the AFI Film Festival, and they did like a little honorary thing for her.
Right.
And they did like a This Is Your Life kind of movie package.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, I'm like, oh, dang, I've seen every movie she's been in. That's saying something, because, there's some people... I've seen one film in their whole career. I've seen every film she's ever made, so I'm a huge fan of hers.
Right.
However... what I'm going to say about Destroyer is probably going to ruin it for her and anybody else that's listening to her that like her. So this is the thing. She's a fabulous actress, but I feel like the push for her with this film is the same push they did when she was in The Hours and she had the nose.
Correct.
I'm like, come on. Can we look past her physicality and look at her acting? What? Because she had jacked up teeth and some jacked up makeup
And frizzy hair.
a really bad wig, like
Really
that.
bad.
I mean,
I mean, you're being kind, but yeah.
I mean, I get that the story is about this woman who has lost is at a place where she's at rock bottom and lost everything, and the way they go about telling the story is interesting, but it's slow.
Yeah.
It's slow, and so by the time you realize what's happening, you've kind of lost interest in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
is even to you guys, both of you guys, is her physicality and what she looks like, does it get in the way of telling the story for you guys?
Yes.
Is it hard?
it didn't for me.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because I know some people have talked about the fact that just looking at her is so tough and so hard that sometimes it takes away from the story.
You're distracted by the performance more than you're more distracted by the performance because the performance is more interesting than the story being told.
Ah, okay.
So essentially for me, I just kept looking at her and I was kind of like, okay, so what is great about this?
Right. Right. Can you remind me again?
Yeah. I saw this at Telluride, so I was like one of the first audiences to see
okay.
it.
So you've had some time to let it just kind of sink in.
Marinate.
Because I'm more of new, like within the last week, but you've had a while to really...
and I mean it's one of these movies that I just don't get. It's Memento.
Yeah.
It's Memento, but nowhere near as good.
No, I was going to say, yeah.
Nowhere near as good. And I mean,
not.
it's like one of our members, Carla of the LAOFCS, joked about this. And she says, just because you're gritty, you talk gritty with a grungy voice, doesn't make it art.
But I'm bummed.
And a nose, and so that's all we need to say about that movie. Let's move over to Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Y'all, okay, so this is a
Coen Brothers, Western Coen Brothers,
Right, and I'm just like, okay, I appreciate the fact that they did 6 short films in one film, but they should have just did 6 short films.
But
I'm just saying.
But here's the thing. I will say this: when it comes to the Coen Brothers, it's kind of like Harry Potter franchise. Is that let's think about it this way. Think about it. No matter what you think about the film and your critique, their base.
Is their base.
Right. The people who like Harry Potter will watch it. The people who are like art house that just love everything that the Coen Brothers put out, they don't care. They will still love this. No matter, it's a great film, but even if it wasn't, it's Coen Brothers, and they love it.
The best thing about this film for me was the old boy doing the throwback to the Roy Rogers with the white horse, singing the little cowboy song in the beginning. That was the best part of the movie for me.
Carla, thank you so much. I literally watched that, and I was hooked, right? Because I'm like, oh, it's a musical, it's violent, it's great.
They know how to hook you in the beginning, don't they?
Yeah.
They totally got me in the beginning.
And then it kept going, and I was like, okay, this is worse. And this is even worse. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And why is it still going? Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm so glad that I'm not in the.
He's smart for hooking you in the beginning. It's just unfortunately it doesn't keep you throughout the film. It doesn't. The interest slowly fades. Even though I like the Coen brothers, I love everything they put out. Again, but the level of interest that you have at the beginning of the film,
oh my God,
is slow towards the end. It's way down there.
Child, let's just say I fell asleep on this bad boy a few times and had to restart that DVD machine. I'm like, okay. So on that note, let's move on to Robin Hood.
Right.
So Robin,
why?
I put all of them together. So
because it was so good.
I put them all together. So Robin Hood, has Jamie Foxx in it and a couple of other little people, but
Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing I want to say this about. It's not so much about what you think about Robin Hood. It's can you find a good review about Robin Hood?
Yeah.
No, if you go on the internet, if you go on YouTube, if you watch all the clips right now, what I found in just doing my research after I saw the film and then I was reading and doing all the interviews, what I found is that it was extremely hard to find anyone reviewing this film that had anything positive to say. And that's scary when you have an Oscar winner like Jamie Foxx in it.
And this is the thing about that. I'm glad you brought that up because this is the thing. I feel like sometimes when people win Oscars, it's a curse for the rest of their career.
Yes,
because Jamie Foxx literally has not had a really good film since Ray, really.
Yeah.
And that other film that he did with Tom Cruise.
Right.
What was that? Collateral.
Collateral, yeah.
That was a good film.
That was a really, but I'm saying those two films came out around the same time, and I'm like, yeah, Jamie. I love me some Jamie Foxx now. He's cute, but
yeah. It's this. Well, here's the thing. The biggest question that wasn't answered for me is that when you bring on something that's been told a million times, whether it's Batman, Spider-Man, whatever, you need to give the audience a reason why it needs to be retold.
Yes.
And guess what? I didn't find that reason when I watched this.
I did.
Why did Robin Hood? Why did we need a new version?
We didn't necessarily need a new version, but I feel like for a whole millennial generation that doesn't know what the hell Robin Hood is or why people even like Robin Hood, the ones that didn't see the version with Kevin Costner or those other versions, this was like a Robin Hood for the millennials is what it was because it had millennial stars in it. It had, millennials love Jamie Foxx.
But the thing...
The action was good, like the stuff that they were doing with those... This is the thing that made me laugh. I was laughing because I looked at that film and I thought, wow, look at what they're doing with a bow and arrow. Can we just have bow and arrows now instead of like guns?
Right.
Like, that's literally what I was thinking.
Did the cliches bother you? Were you at all bothered by some of the cliches? I'm wondering would millennials be bothered by some of the cliches?
I think what it was is just that, it's interesting. Carla thinks this is a good film for millennials. I don't think even the millennials cared about it.
Right.
I think
it has to be written a certain way to attract them.
Right. I mean, you watch. A24 is the millennial audience. If you really want to know the truth, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They got the Hereditary. They got the 8th grade. They know what they're doing. Mid-90s, for Christ's sake. I mean, this movie is just. What's strange about it is Warner Brothers made such a big goof last year with King Arthur.
Right.
And you would have thought at that point, after they saw how badly that tanked, that Lionsgate would have said, you know what? Maybe we should pull the plug on this. Maybe this is not a smart decision.
They shot that movie almost a year and a half ago.
Has it really been that long?
Because I met Jamie Foxx in January at the night before the Oscars party, and I said, "Oh, what do you have coming up next?" And he said Robin Hood. So it was already in the can by the time January.
But did you know? And you probably are. You as a journalist, we all know this. A couple of things. Number one, they didn't have a big budget in terms of promoting it, so that was a telltale sign.
Yes.
The second thing is, do you remember that the embargo kept being pushed back?
Yes.
Yes.
So that should have been a sign to you right away. When an embargo is continually pushed back and the budget for promotion or marketing a film is decreased, those are two telltale signs.
Yes.
Those really are. You have to look at that.
Yeah.
Why do you need to decrease a budget and continue to push back the embargo for critics' reviews unless you think that like 90% of the critical reviews are going to be negative?
That's a good point.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you think, did Roma push back their reviews?
Hell no.
You know what I mean? Did Wells push back their reviews?
Hell no.
You know,
No.
so when a film is great, they're not saying no, it's embargoed up until the day that it is released wide. No. I think you have to look at
You're
those
absolutely
things.
right about that, because we've mentioned that here about a couple of other films with other studios that shall remain nameless at this
exactly.
point. Okay, so we all have feelings about that, and we have expressed them.
Right.
Now, have either one of y'all seen Second Act?
No.
I haven't seen Second Act. I have seen a lot of the interviews with J-Lo talking about it, and I've seen some pretty decent reviews. Actually saying that people were saying we went in or we looked at it and we thought it was going to be great from some of the advanced critics, and it wasn't great. But it wasn't the worst thing she's done. So I don't know what that means. It wasn't the worst thing she's done. It's certainly not the best thing she's done. It's somewhere in the middle. But, you know, J-Lo plays underdogs. She likes playing that. And she's an entertainer, and she's J-Lo. And, you know, it's like a lot of films. When you look on the big screen and there's a J-Lo or even a Beyonce.
You gonna go.
I'm going to go, but the thing is, I always see J-Lo. No matter what she's playing,
you know,
I see J-Lo.
Now
I see J-Lo.
I disagree with y'all. So I did see it.
Okay.
And what I'm going to tell you about Second Act is this. I love that movie, mostly because I am a huge fan of watching Jennifer Lopez in romantic comedies.
Really?
I love her in romantic comedies.
Was she like Made in Manhattan or something like that?
Made in Manhattan, and the one that she did with Ray
Right.
Was that Made in Manhattan?
Yeah, I think that was. Yeah.
And then there was another one that she did with Matthew McConaughey.
Correct.
I love her in romantic comedies. And when we interviewed her, she said that, I said, why do you keep gravitating toward this genre? And she says, well, you know, I'm a romantic, in case you haven't heard. I'm like, yeah, okay, we know that. But she said there's something about the real life of that romance and comedy that happens in tandem that makes her keep wanting to tell those stories over and over again. And I'm like, and in this particular film, she gets to do it with her best friend.
Yeah.
She gets to be in it with her best friend.
And that probably makes it a little bit better, too, because they've got real chemistry in real life.
Yes.
And so that's nice to probably see them on the big screen together.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of that was ad-lib. I'm almost positive.
Most of it was scripted.
Oh, really? Because I would imagine with their relationship.
The only thing that was kind of ad-libbed was this scene that they show in the trailers and in the interviews all the time, where they're smacking each other in the face.
Ah, okay.
So
okay.
it was one of those things where they let Leah do her thing,
right?
And she kept smacking Jennifer, and finally Jennifer like hauled off and smacked her back. But it was but it wasn't like, doll, stop. I can't say what I really want to say.
Right.
Like, doll, stop smacking me. It wasn't like that. But you know, I love her in romantic comedy. I will go see her in a romantic comedy all day long, because I just love her in that genre.
She's a triple threat, and the thing is, we don't need her to be Meryl Streep. Okay, she's an entertainer. She's an international entertainer. She's a decent, great dancer, sings, dances, acts. I like her.
I love her.
That's just the bottom line.
I do.
And no matter what, we're always going to go see a J-Lo film. And for the people that love her, they'll probably find this great. And let me tell you something. I like being able to go to a film and not have to think. And from what I'm hearing about the second act, you just sit back and it's a nice hour and a half
and you
and just enjoy it.
You enjoy it. And the other thing that is really good about it is that it shows that, and the reason it's called Second Act is because her character has this moment where she's been working in a store for years and years and years. She wants this promotion. They don't give it to her. They give it to some dude who actually doesn't deserve it, who doesn't really want it, but is going to take it because he can. And she was like, you know what, I'm done. And so she literally has to reinvent herself and have a second act career for life, you know?
But even with the economy and political climate, I bet you half of America understands that.
Exactly, and that's
they will
another
identify
reason.
With that.
Exactly, and that's another reason why people will like the film. So, moving on to another light and fluffy moment. Mary Poppins returns.
Supercalifragilistic espialidocious.
Yes, girl, yes.
Emily Blunt can do no wrong.
Let me tell you something, and I've said this numerous times. If anybody was going to play Mary Poppins, Emily Blunt is the person to do it, because she just... And this is the thing. Scott and I were at the press conference where she spoke, and she said that she didn't go back and watch the original.
Right. I heard her say that too.
Because what she didn't want to do was do some cheap imitation of Julie Andrews. It's Julie Andrews. Nobody can be Julie Andrews.
Correct.
But she could be the best Emily Blunt she could be.
Correct.
Right? She took what was unique about Emily Blunt and what her memory had in her memory banks about Mary Poppins and what she loved about Mary Poppins and brought that to the silver screen, and it worked. It worked 5,000 zillion times
and then if that wasn't enough, they threw in Lin-Manuel.
Who got energy for days.
I mean,
he makes me tired.
That just sealed the deal. That sealed the deal, and it was so beautifully done. It's visually stunning.
Rob Marshall directing
it. The singing is great. The directing is great. The colorful, all of it is just so perfect. I couldn't really think of anything negative. But I was thinking to myself, if Emily Blunt did not play this role, could Anne Hathaway have done this too?
No,
Anne Hathaway. How do you feel about that?
No.
Possibly.
No.
Possibly.
No.
I'm actually the complete opposite on this movie. Really? I actually did not like this movie.
What?
Yes, I'm telling you. Yeah.
You don't like musicals?
No, I love. She can tell you I love musicals.
Okay. Child, this is the person that saw The Greatest Showman 5 zillion times.
Yeah. I love musicals.
Okay.
That was my favorite movie last year. La La Land was the year before that. I love musicals. This movie, for me, I just did not. It's fine. I want to first say that it's fine, and I agree with Carla and you about both Lin-Manuel and also Emily Blunt. Those two are the highlight for me of this movie, as well as the set design and the costumes.
Right.
The music stops the movie dead. There's no songs that are not memorable. The music is not memorable. The movie feels like I call this a bootleg retelling of the original or the stories, because essentially it's just something being replaced with something else. Okay, here's a kite in the first movie. We're gonna replace it with a balloon. Here's
I hear what you're saying. It's not that theme song like A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga,
right?
Where you walk out of the theater,
you don't have
you're
it.
Like dun dun dun. You're still kind of singing that song. That's that one hit that stays in your head. And what you're saying is you didn't feel that way when you walked out of When he walked out of Mary Poppins, you weren't still singing any one of those songs.
No.
That's something I didn't think about that. I mean, I enjoyed the musical. I enjoyed the music, but was the music memorable? You're bringing up a pretty valid point.
And then you think about musicals, and I mean, Carla and I can talk about this. We always talk about musicals. We love them. What I love, even a movie called like Anna and the Apocalypse, which just came out, which I think is a great film.
He loves this movie. He talks about it every chance he gets.
It's what's interesting is, for me, when I watch a musical, I want the musical numbers to push the movie forward.
Yes.
And I want them to kind of build upon the story. And if you look at something like Anna and the Apocalypse or even The Greatest Showman, the songs kind of have a place and they foreshadow what's going to happen later.
Paces the film.
And this one, it's just like the musical number happens, okay, move on. Like it's just like musical number, stops, story, musical number, stop, story. It doesn't.
It's like
flow.
a checkbox.
Yeah.
Check.
All done well. What? But I feel like, again, for those kids that didn't grow up with Mary Poppins like the three of us did,
right?
These kids that have no friggin' idea of what the hell Mary Poppins is, this is gonna rock their little world. It is. It's gonna rock their little world. They're gonna want to get a Mary Poppins lunchbox if they even still do that anymore. They're just gonna. It's just gonna. It's for a new generation.
Maybe Scott's standards are higher. Just a little bit. Scott has these high standards, and maybe just for the people who are just going to the theater, they're going to enjoy Mary Poppins. They're going to like the music. It's visually stunning, and that might just be enough.
It's interesting because I think I talked to a lot of people who saw this movie, and there are quite a few people who are mixed on it.
Really?
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like a lot of people thought the pacing was off, that the movie's very slow, that a lot of people who brought their little kids to it were not that interested in it, that they found it dull.
Wow.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean,
I thought it was a slam dunk.
Me too.
It's interesting because I think that there's elements of this movie that are really magical. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you cannot deny, even the biggest critic cannot deny this. The scene where she comes down from the sky.
Oh yes,
that's magical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the bathroom scene.
Yeah,
I love.
Yeah. We're going in the bathtub.
Yes,
Some of those scenes are very magical. I mean, when Dick Van Dyke shows up in the movie, you can't help but oh my god, like what happened?
Yeah.
But then you just have these moments that just, like the Meryl Streep moment, like the song, completely pointless. There's no reason for that scene to happen.
I wasn't having that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's
Sorry,
that.
I just
There's
had
that.
to.
We mixed on
Make
Mary
it-
Poppins Returns. Okay. So I'm just going to throw in a couple of news and then we're going to get into it. So what we're going to do when we talk about the Golden Globes is I'm going to talk about who should win and who will win. Because I
Okay,
feel like that's
okay.
a better way to
That's
have the
good.
discussion. Okay. So for Black Tomato News, there's a Natalie Wood documentary set by HBO that her daughter, Natasha Wagner, is doing in conjunction, with Amblin TV, and is slated for 2020. And this time, this documentary is going to examine her personal and professional triumphs, her being Natalie Wood, and challenges which have often been overshadowed by her tragic death at 43 when Natasha Gregson Wagner was only 11 years old. I love Natalie Wood. She's one of my favorite actresses ever. So I wish they would just let her rest in peace.
Me too.
I mean, I'm sure that this is probably going to be cathartic for her daughter, and her daughter just wants to get that out there, but I want her to rest in peace.
Yeah.
Robert Townsend, who I love, and who I've talked about 5 Heartbeats on the show all the time, they're finally making it into a musical.
Oh, wow.
Woo! It's going to be the best musical ever. They're making it into a musical, and Keenan Ivory Wayans, who helped him pen the movie, is going to help him pen the musical. Janelle Monáe has come on board The Glorias, A Life on the Road, the Gloria Steinem biopic that has Julianne Moore and Alicia Vikander playing the feminist social political activist at various stages in her life. And my Lion King director, Julie Taymor, is directing
Oh, wow.
it. So you know, because Miss Julie don't play.
No, that's going to be
Miss
great.
Julie does not play.
Can't wait to see the finished product.
Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Oscar nominee Naomi Harris for Moonlight has signed as the lead in the Sony Screen Gems body cam cop thriller. Ooh, that was a lot to say.
Yeah.
Black and Blue, and it was formerly titled Exposure. That's being directed by my boy Dion Taylor, based on a screenplay by Peter Dowling, and the plot centers on a rookie cop who's played by Harris in New Orleans, who witnesses corrupt officers murdering a drug dealer, and an event that is captured by her body cam. So we'll see how that one plays out. Yeah, you know. All right, let's get to these Golden Globe predictions. All right, so let's start with. And before we do that, let me just give some love to Cold War, my favorite film.
Okay.
It won the Best European Film Director, Screenplay, and Actress for leading Lady Joanna Kulik at the European Film Awards over this weekend. And Joanna is 7 months pregnant, so I hope you have a healthy baby, Joanna. Yay. All right, so for Best Picture, for Best Picture Drama, I feel like what should win is If Beale Street Could Talk, but what's gonna win is A Star Is Born. Ooh, y'all are quiet.
I want
Let's see.
Black Klansman to win this. And if I was going to pick what's going to win, I would have to agree with you. I think A Star Is Born.
Okay.
So you think the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is leaning more towards A Star Is Born than If Beale Street Could Talk?
Yep,
For sure.
I do.
I'm going to be the underdog and say I still
You think it's
believe
gonna be the
that If
other way?
Beale Street Could Talk is the underdog, and I believe it has a fighting chance. I'm going to go on the record and say that for the Golden Globes in
Very
that
nice.
category.
Okay.
Very nice.
All right. So for musical comedy Best Picture, I'm saying what should win is the one we are mixed about, Mary Poppins Returns, or The Favorite. I'm kind of mixed on that. What will win is probably going to be Green Book or Vice.
I want Green Book to win this.
It probably will be Mary Poppins Returns. It's Crazy Rich Asians in there.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'd love to see that win. That would really throw this category just kind
Into a
of
tailspin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
real tailspin.
Ooh, honey,
and
folk would lose their mind.
They really would. I would love to see that. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm going to record to say I would love to see that. But it will probably be Mary Poppins
I actually think the
Returns.
favorite's going to win.
You do?
I want Green Book to win, but I think favorite's going to win.
Yeah, maybe. You may be
Okay.
right about that.
It's winning in a lot of categories.
Yeah.
I've been watching this.
Going into it, you're
Yeah.
right.
Right.
It's got the momentum.
Okay, so Best Actor Motion Picture Drama, who should win, in my opinion, is Lucas Hedges for Boy Erased, but who's gonna win is either gonna be Bradley Cooper or Rami Malek.
Thank you, Carla, for saying that. I feel so bad for Lucas Hedges this year because I feel like he's really killed it and no one's giving him any love, and I think he's amazing.
Fabulous. I love him.
I would want him to win, and I'm gonna say that I think Bradley Cooper is going to win.
I think it's going to be Rami Malek, actually. I know it's really weird. I love Bohemian Rhapsody.
Me too.
And the audiences did too. But if you
Critics
look at the critics hated it, made it look like it was the worst musical in like 50 years. And I don't think that's the case.
Me
I
either.
think he really transformed himself
Absolutely.
for this character.
He did. He was
And I
great.
think he has a good chance for this category.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So for musical or comedy, I think who will win is going to be Viggo Mortensen. Who should win is either going to be Robert Redford or Christian Bale. A lot of these I'm kind of either or because it's just hard.
I'm on the Bale bandwagon for this in both
Bale
in both categories. I
Yeah.
think both who I want and who will.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
going to definitely be Christian Bale. Because remember, we said he's the best thing about Vice. Even though we all kind of didn't give it the thumbs up unilaterally, we still said Christian Bale really did his thing and did a great job
Yeah.
for this.
Okay, so Best Actress in a Motion Picture, I feel like who should win is Lady Gaga, but who will possibly win is going to be Glenn Close or Melissa McCarthy.
I hope Lady Gaga wins this category.
I think she will. And you better be prepared for a really in-depth
That's going to be an
speech.
upset. I
Yeah.
think
It's
that's
gonna
going to
be
be
an
the upset
upset.
of the night.
Yeah. But
So
I
you
think she's got a chance. I really do.
So you think Glenn Close is going to win?
It's going to be an upset. I mean, I think she might win, but I'm saying Lady Gaga should
Oh,
win.
Lady Gaga should definitely
Yeah,
win this
I'm
category.
saying she should win.
Yeah.
All right, for musical comedy, who should win is Charlize Theron for Tully. That's who should
Amen.
win.
Amen.
Who will win is probably going to be Emily Blunt for Mary Poppins Returns.
Right. But Charlize Theron, she's got a shot at it. Tully,
Yeah, I know.
please,
Please.
we don't
I know.
even
Yeah,
Please, we
yeah.
don't even have to discuss
we don't have
that.
to discuss that. It's not even an issue. I mean, Charlize Theron, just such
Did
a great
that.
actress.
She
really did.
She put her foot in that, as we
really
would
did.
say. Okay.
Last time she did something like that, it was like Munster.
Okay.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, I know.
she
Yes.
transformed herself
Yes.
from Munster,
Yes.
so
I
yes, she
love
did
that.
it again
yes.
with Tully.
Yes.
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 Best supporting actor who should win is Richard E. Grant, and who will win, I have no freaking idea.
Yeah, I
that
don't either
category
with
is
that.
so tight. It's
Yeah.
so
You want
tight.
Richard E. Grant to win?
I do want Richard E. Grant to
Oh,
win. I do. I think he did a really great job in what they had.
You disagree?
I do.
Who do you
I
want?
do.
Who do you think should win?
Either Mahershala or Adam Driver.
Okay. Did you see what they had?
No.
If you saw what they had, you would change your mind.
Well, you're,
I was saying Mahershala too.
Are you talking about Can You Ever Forgive Me? You're thinking of the wrong
No,
film.
no. Oh, right. Well,
You
I'm
are.
talking about. I am thinking about wrong film.
Oh, yeah,
Richard E.
okay.
Grant for Can You Ever Forgive Me? Yes.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm thinking about the other film.
Yeah.
With the other guy.
Yeah, I thought this
Oops.
movie was only okay.
Okay. Okay. Supporting actress. Oops. Stop that. Okay. Supporting actress who will and should win, Regina King. And
Hands
Regina
down.
King's also nominated for Best Actress for 7 Seconds, so she has a chance to win twice.
Right. She was great in both.
And
of them.
she's nominated for Best Actress for 7 Seconds, but Best Supporting for If Beale Street Could Talk.
right.
Oh, and by the way, I want to bring this up. You remember either last week or the week before we were talking about Regina King? Mm-hmm. She should be in supporting because Kiki should be the lead.
I disagree with that, and I've said I've said this before. I've had major arguments with people about this, but I'll concede. I will
But
concede.
she's a sure bet, I think,
Yeah,
right? There's no
like she's the
no
only
debate.
person I think is a sure bet.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, Best Animated Feature, which should and will win, will be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
That is a great film. I saw that last
Yeah.
It's
weekend.
wonderful.
It surprised me
I
because I,
know.
don't really like animated flicks, and I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, wow. This really kept my interest. I like it.
Okay.
Well written, well done. Everything is great with
What
that.
about you, Scott?
I agree. I think that one.
Cool. Best Foreign Feature, what should and will win is probably going to be Roma.
I love
Of
Shoplifters.
the choices.
Yes, definitely.
I love Shoplifters, but I think Roma's going to win for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Best Director, who should win is Spike Lee.
Absolutely.
Who will win is probably going to be Bradley Cooper.
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope. I think Caron's going to win for
Yeah.
Roma.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I think the
gonna be-
Hollywood Foreign Press Association
my God, yeah.
definitely leans towards Alfonso Cuarón, for
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
There's
right.
no doubt about that.
All right. So Best Screenplay,
Here we go. The freaking category.
who should win is If Beale Street Could Talk. What will win, I think, is going to be The Favorite.
I agree on both of those.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
I agree.
Ooh,
The
ooh.
Favorite.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Let
And
me
there's
keep it
nothing
moving.
but positive stuff for The Favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, girl? That film is hilarious.
It is.
I
Yeah.
love that movie. Okay, so Best TV Drama, what should win?
Do you want to do the scores first, so then before we get into the motion?
I didn't
picture?
write the scores down because I knew I knew by the time we got to this
Oh,
place,
yeah.
we were gonna run short on time.
You want
So-
to do that real quick then?
Yeah, of course I can. Scores. I think what's probably going to win is gonna be Mary Poppins Returns Mary Poppins Returns should win, and what will win is probably going to be Mary Poppins Returns, because the other ones I don't even remember the music. Like, I love. Okay.
And you said yourself, if the music isn't memorable.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the music in this category. I mean, this is a terrible category. Where's
all the
Beale
memorable
Street?
songs?
Where's
Right.
Beale Street? Had the best score of the year.
Beale Street had a great
Best
score.
score of the year.
Great score. Okay.
Well, whenever you have a Baldwin book that's turned into a movie, the music is a character in itself. So he definitely has to.
That's a shame right there. That's a crime.
Okay, so best original song, I think it's probably going to end up being "Shallow" from A Star Is Born. Should and will win.
There's no.
Should and will win.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
There's no other.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So best TV drama, what should win is Pose. What probably will win is going to be Homecoming. Homecoming is fierce, y'all. If you ain't seen it, get on the Homecoming bandwagon.
Let me tell you, it's Sandra Ogier. So I'm going to say it's going to be Killing Eve.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to go with Killing Eve because that's phenomenal.
And she is hosting.
She is hosting, right. So remember that.
I'm going to go really out there, and I'm going to say The Bodyguard because I hear everyone talking about this show.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's good too. I just thought that maybe it's Sandra Ogier, and Killing Eve is really great, and she's had the momentum, and it's the odds are in its favor for sure.
But I kind of think Pose is going to win because it's Ryan Murphy, because that man, anytime Ryan Murphy has a show,
They love him.
Just for the sake of time, I'm going to streamline this, and we're just going to talk about Best Actress and Actor TV Drama and Best TV Drama.
Okay.
So Best Actress TV Drama, I think who should win is Julia Roberts, but like you said, KJ, is Sandra Ogier. So who probably will win will be Sandra Oh for Killing Eve.
Correct.
Hey, Julia Roberts being snubbed for Ben is Back, so snub her here too.
Right.
Okay, Best Actor TV Drama, who should win is Stephan James for Homecoming, but who will win is going to be Matthew Rhys Arise with Americans, because this was their last year on the air.
And you know, when it's always the last year, people feel like
sentimental.
Everybody else has a chance. You can have it the next year. Let's go ahead and just give it to him because it's ending. They always feel that way. So.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, Best TV Drama. What should win is Homecoming, and what I feel should be walking away with it and will win is Homecoming. Yeah. Homecoming is fierce.
Yeah.
Y'all should check out Homecoming. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the winners or predictions or whatever you think your favorites might be, go look at the list at the Golden Globe site or the Hollywood Foreign Press site and check it out. But this is who we think is going to prevail at the end of the day.
Correct.
And then I just have a few little things I want to say. So this is our last Black Tomatoes show of 2018, and I just want to give a mad shout out to all of the people that were in the chat room that chatted with us, especially Michael B, because Michael B was consistent from day one to this day, which we're not streaming live, but I know Michael B is going to go on that YouTube channel and he'll watch this and he'll have something to say. So thank you, Michael B. I want to thank Black Hollywood Live for giving Scott and I this platform to talk about movies. I'm very passionate about film. I love film. I love talking about it. I love watching it. I love critiquing it. It's one of my favorite things to do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to Daryl Kristen, Keven Undergaro, Maria Menounos, Stephen Lemieux, Brianna Phillips, and Juliette Viebert for supporting Scott and I here at Black Hollywood Live. Thank you to KJ Matthews and everyone else that has come over here in the last 8 or 9 months to be a guest. I can't remember everybody's names and I knew I would. This is why I should have wrote it down. I should have wrote it down. I was like, no, girl, you'll remember it. Yeah, no, I don't remember it. But there have been numerous people that have been gracious enough to come over here. Some of them were friends. Some of them I'd never met before they came here, but we're friends now. And I appreciate you. I love you. And Scott and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Now, getting on to... And thank you. That was my acceptance speech. All right. So now on to a little piece of news. So like I said, this is the last show for Black Tomatoes here at Black Hollywood Live for 2018. When we come back on January 6th, Black Tomatoes will have a new name. It will have a new logo. It's going to be a completely different rebranding. You will still be able to catch the previous shows that have been taped, all 40 of them, on the YouTube channel for Black Hollywood Live, but it'll just be a different name and it'll be a different logo. So don't think that, they erased the whole playlist. Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. But I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. and to let you know to support us in 2019, because it's going to be an off the charts year just like this year was. So that's it, you guys.
Coming back with a bang.
Coming back with a bang. So in closing, since we are in the holiday season, what is I know my holiday pick that I want people to see is Holiday Inn is my favorite movie ever.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, right before I came over here, I was thinking there's 2 or 3 new films on Netflix, and I thought I loved all of them. But guess what? I'm in my car, I'm on YouTube, and guess what pops up?
That Kurt Russell movie?
Not just a Kurt Russell movie, Home Alone.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said to myself, is there ever a year where we don't see Home Alone? And I feel like, even though I've seen it 1.5 million times, and I'm sure you guys have seen it like 3 million times too, doesn't it just bring joy to you to see it again?
It's hilarious. It is.
I laugh like I've never seen it before. And so, although, yes, I love the Kurt Russell film that's on Netflix right now.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
Christmas Chronicles. I still go back to Home Alone. But yeah, Christmas Chronicles is great because you think to yourself, another Christmas film on Netflix. They just shot it. It's just like another, Christmas film on Hallmark or Lifetime. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I love those channels. I love these Christmas films. The day after Thanksgiving, I start watching them. And we need that. There's so many heavy films out there that people don't understand that this escapism is so necessary for so many people around the holidays.
We need a little light and love. How about you, Scott?
It's funny. As someone who celebrates both holidays, I have to say that
Happy Hanukkah!
It's over already.
Happy Hanukkah, that's already over.
But I have to say that the movie that I just love and I have to watch is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, that is the funniest.
Yeah, it's the movie I have to watch every year, which ironically enough was directed by someone who's Jewish. So it's all fitting. It all comes full circle.
It all comes back
around.
I
mean, I just, Chevy Chase back in the day when those roles were just
hilarious.
Amazing.
But at least we have a plethora of all these great Christmas films out there. It could be worse. We could just have them putting a lot of stuff out there and they're just rolling your eyes. But, we need these films right around the holidays.
We really
need it. I'm so happy that they're out there for people, whether you find it on Lifetime or, Netflix
Hulu,
or Hallmark
Amazon,
any of those things.
Channel,
At least we have them. Yes. And the classics. You can try the new ones and the classics.
Exactly. Yeah. So on that note, we are going to close it out for 2018. Throughout the week, I'm going to throw up some interviews and some clips of the shows that we've done throughout the year, some little highlights of Scott and I and the guest and whatever. But until 2019, y'all, I am your host, Carla Renata. You can find me across all social media platforms at the CurvyCritic. And right after this, I'll be over at AfterBuzz TV doing the General Hospital After Show. And where can we find you, KJ?
Of course, I'm always on Twitter and Instagram, KJ Matthews TV. But I also contribute to the BBC, Germany's DW English, and from time to time, Australia ABC's News Breakfast Show.
Wow.
And Scott?
What a lineup. You can find me over at WeLiveEntertainment.com or Twitter and Instagram me at @TheOtherScottM. Thank you so much and happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody. Bye.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.